Wind is blowing pretty good this morning, so that's not going to make it a little bit more of an exercise. It's right off the beam. I think I'll put some gloves on here to protect my hands. Sometimes when I get in a hurry, it's not a good thing to have bare hands. Too easy to get hurt, or take the skin off my hands anyway. All right, so now I need to just have some power on, and I need to have slack on the upwind line. I think I'll go ahead and put my jacket on because I'll forget it otherwise. Downwind is too slack, so I need to, still too much. Yeah, now there's a little slack there, but not too much, so that should do it. All right, let's see what we can get here. We'll take the downwind line first, retrieve that, get it coiled and put away, and then check again our upwind line to make sure it's still slack. We don't want it to get too slack, and it's too slack right now, so need to adjust that. Back off just a bit. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we'll take the bow line. Upwind line will be last, and that'll give us another check on the to make sure it's not too slack. It looks pretty good so far. All right, hopefully this will work. I don't trip and fall, break my neck, which I seem to be trying to do this day today. I just need to take my time and not get too much of a hurry. No, I don't want that there. So far it's holding fine. Close the front door. We'll leave the camera up there for a while. Well, escaped without injury to either me or the boat. It was a kind of a challenge, but it worked. It's been a while since I've had that much wind from the side. It's about 10 miles an hour. Well, it gets only 6 feet through here. I think what I'll do is go around the island on the deep side. Kayak is behind, and we're on our way. Let's go ahead and hook up the autopilot. Underway, under autopilot, with quite a bit of wind this morning. Oh, not running my tracking. So we got the bow camera on today. I don't know how well it picked up what I was doing to retrieve the boat from the shore, but it's a little better than it was before. It could be a little bit more centered, I guess. Well, I'm heading up to far west of this particular bay, looking for either a place to anchor or tie up to shore where I can easily reach the trailhead and take a hike later. I don't know if I'll do that today or tomorrow or what. I'm not sure yet. I feel like I've been hustling a little bit more than I should. Need to take more time. I should have gone up and wiped down the panels. They're all covered with moisture, and I go do it, but underway is not a wise thing to do, because if I slipped off the side, the boat would just keep on going. I won't do that. I won't be tempted. And slept a little better last night, but as I wrote in my log, either the mice or the squirrels attacked. The signs that it was mice is probably overwhelming, since I found one in my bucket in the back of the boat in the morning. TP roll, and shredded it, making nest material, I'm sure. It's that time of the year. Fortunately, it didn't completely destroy it, and I do have spares, but it's kind of disarming to have them on board again. It just seems like in the fall there's no way to escape it. So I set 3 traps, but I already caught one on his own. He caught himself, so maybe that'll be it. 3 fishing boats out here already this morning. And it looks like that houseboat moved, so I could have gone into where he's at, but well, the sun's out. It did shower this morning a little bit, a couple times after I got up. I got up around 6:30, and it rained a little bit. No, the houseboat's still there, so he hasn't gone anywhere. That explains one of the fishing boats. So we'll have to see if I can find anything down the way here. We'll go down to the trailhead first, see what we can find. We're not allowed to tie up to the docks that are in the park. At least I don't think so. I'm not sure. The rule is really for the big houseboats, but too easy for them to damage the boat, or the docks, I should say. Yeah, that boat, smaller one, it's a little bit one off to my starboard here, is about the size of the one that I rented up on Rainy back in 2019, I think it was. No, it was earlier than that, 2017. Probably 37, 38 feet. Fishing boat is out, so he's off one of those boats that I saw back there. Last time I was up here, there was a boat in there too, and I couldn't use the spot, so I went down to a little cove further down here in Mica Bay, it's called, and found a kind of a makeshift tie-up arrangement on shore, and I may use that again, although the amount of wind right now is too high for me to want to try to battle against the wind to get to that trailhead. So I may have to look at other options like anchoring down at the end of the bay. So we'll go take a look. Yeah, they look like they're pretty well ensconced. Looks like a couple of chairs on shore, so makes sense. It's kind of a low beach arrangement. Just looking at it, it looks kind of buggy to me, but you never know. Boat's towing pretty well. Oh no, that boat's a lot bigger than 37, 38. That's probably up in the 40s. It's got a big front end screen porch on it. That little bay that I used 2 years ago, just coming up on starboard, just beyond that point on the right. 100 feet deep here, so deep water. No, it's not. This is a different bay that are on the right. It's a little further down, the one I was on 2 years ago. I called it Mica Bay because this whole bay is called Mica Bay. Still don't feel real rested. I'm kind of fitful at night. I'm not sleeping straight through. I'm having to roll around, turn around side to side to try to find a comfortable position. Gives me a little discomfort laying on my side for any length of time. I don't know why, but I think I'm just getting older. I don't remember that being a problem a couple years ago. Yeah, this is just a little bay in here. I could use that for probably, looks like there's a place to tie up right there. Kind of steep sided though. I didn't go in there last time, so I suspect it's too steep sided. Yeah, and it's low on the end, so it'd be buggy. But you could anchor in there. Bugs would still be a problem, but it might be, fairly protected. It might even be a place to tie up there around the corner. Well, no clouds in the sky right now, which is pleasant. Yeah, now there's that, you probably can't see it, it's too far out to the right, but there's a little rock peninsula that comes out. The problem with it last time I was there was there was very little bit to tie to without getting in, couldn't get a broad enough angle. It was okay. There was another spot you could go in, but it was more suited for kayaks than it was for this boat. Well, there's a little bay coming up here on the left, so I'll edge over that way and we'll check that out. It's within about a half a mile of the trailhead, and it might be reasonable length to paddle, even if there is some wind like there is right now. The wind is supposed to go more southwest right now, but I'm going to disconnect the steer into this bay manually to see what we can see. Looking for at least for an anchorage, secondarily a place to tie up ashore. Well, if there was a dock at the end of the bay, it doesn't look like it's still there. Either that or it's hidden from my sight right here. Got to consider the wind getting stronger. It's not supposed to be too bad, but I do have to consider the anchorage with the wind in mind. So quite a breeze right now. It's because of the enclosed environment. There's no waves to speak of, but it's just blowing pretty good. It's got to be up around 12 now. It's hard as hell when you're going upwind. Well, this is a little corner that I'm thinking of. Looks like pretty low in there, lily pads. But we'll look anyway. Yeah, it's pretty low. 22 feet. Could anchor in here, but pretty low. And there's one spot there that looks like it's feasible to tie up to, but kind of steep-sided. It looks like it could have been used once as a campsite. Let's go down and see where the trailhead, what the trailhead shows for us. I see the sign. Oh yeah, there is a dock there. So what I could do is anchor at the end of the bay here too, I guess. Let's take a look and see what the map shows. There's no campsites there. Evidently they have a head, some kind of a head there. The only thing I'm worried about if I anchor there is there could be a lot of other boats come in here. That's one danger of parking too close to a trailhead. And then the other question is, what kind of a bottom do we have? Whether or not I need to use a trip float on the anchor in case it gets stuck in rocks. That's always a consideration. I think all the wind is going to be coming from the west or southwest, so anchoring up in here would be a reasonably safe thing to do, and it would put me close to the trailhead. Much easier to, we're about 25 feet, 30 feet, and it's really shallow here at the end, so it looks like it's more suited to kayaks. So even though there is a dock, it's probably mostly for kayaks and canoes, not for boats. But we'll take a peek. Should be able to see the dock there now from the bow camera, and actually from the P2 as well. So we'll poke in there just to see how shallow it gets. But there we go. Nice terrain there on the right. Slow down as we approach. The wind is pretty much out of the west here. So coming up 28 feet. All right, folks, what are we gonna find? Got cleats on it, but there's some lily pads around there indicating shallow water. We're already up to 9 feet. Weedy bottom. And we'll drift in here and see what we got. Yeah, weeds come right up to the surface. 8 feet, but the weeds are pretty long. All right, some shallow depths here, 5 feet, but 6, 7 feet. Well, the reality is I'm not going to tie up there. It's just not, even though I can probably get in there. Still 7.5 feet. Still 8 feet here. Oh, 3 feet. That's far enough. Nope. I can't read the sign, but I'm sure it's saying that you can't stay there. So let's just go down here along see if we can find a spot to anchor. Nice overlook. Just to not get tangled up in all these weeds. We'll go down just a little bit beyond where there's a little indent up here. We'll pull in there and see what we find for a bottom. Here it's kind of irregular, but looks weedy. Could be some rocks though, so might be wise to put a float on the anchor road as I drop it. 10 feet here, drops off pretty deep. And the question is being able to find shallow enough depth to anchor too. That's another problem. I may have to go on the south side to find 30 feet here, so pretty deep. I could tie to shore too, I suppose, even though it's not the best place for it. What do you think, guys? Pretty deep. Flat bottom here, but deep. I don't like anchoring in that depth. And I also don't like tying up with my stern to, I don't know. There's a shelf in here, maybe it'll get shallower enough, but it looks to me like I'm going to have to go back to that shallow, the inlet I was in that we looked at just a bit ago. Because still we're still 30 feet, just too deep. You know, I'm looking at options for tying to shore here too, so because with it being deep, tying to shore is an option. Well, there's a bald eagle. Well, got a few pictures of them. I don't know if I got a very good one, but we'll go over and anchor in that bay. With the southwest winds, also a potential, I think the best, rather than tying to shore there where I would be more exposed, it's better to just go down here in this shallow bay and anchor. So rather than looking for a shore tie-up, we'll just go in and anchor. So we'll go in here and look for about 8 feet of water and drop an anchor. Pretty flat bottom, which I'm not going to worry about a trip line. Gets shallow fast, so I'll have to watch for that. Good thing here too at anchor is I'll be exposed to the sun for more of the day. All right, we're about 20 feet, so I'll put her in neutral here. I don't want to get into those weeds, so. Okay, there was a big shelf that came up there. Steep rise. Now we're at 8 feet. Okay, it's weedy here. So I'll point it towards the wind, 10 feet. Whoa, that says it's only 3 feet. Can it be that shallow? It's got to be the weeds. 4.5 feet, so we'll, yeah, because it's 9 feet. Let's go drop an anchor. Trying to get this thing down, and it was at least 8 feet, so I need to have at least 50 feet out. If I want a 7-to-1 scope, that's 40 feet, and that's 50 feet. Kind of need to mark this line again for next year, I think. All right, see what we got. Let that tension up, and then we'll back the boat down to make sure the anchor's set. Appears to be holding. Let me go back and give it a little goose. I'm not sure it's holding. Not sure. No, it's not holding. Not holding. All right, try that again. That just didn't hold. Go around again. I don't know if it's just all rock. Pretty weedy and close. Maybe I'll just have to go in closer. So we'll try it again. Okay, I'll try that. It's a little more weedy here, but may have to be that way in order for it to hold. Okay, let's see what we got here. Well, it says 1 foot, but it's not that. It can't be that shallow. It goes from 1 foot to 7 feet, which I think it's the weeds. But nevertheless, we'll raise the engine. Well, I think I got it, but I don't know. It feels firm. I don't feel it bumping, so that's good. We're not moving. I can see the weed there, and that's just telltale. So we can go ahead and kill the motor. Just shake some of the weeds off. It says only 2.5 feet, but I know it's deeper than that. It's just the weeds, a lot of weeds. Good evening, folks. Almost dark. It's hard to get enough light inside the cabin here to even film. So I've got all the lights on that I can put on to try to get enough light that I can record. Anyway, I thought I'd update you. I moved this morning to the west, the intention of hiking a trail called Beast Lake Trail. Don't know where the name comes from. And I didn't take the trail today. I decided that I had to come back towards the east a little bit to a little inlet to the south side of the Mica Bay and anchor. So I'm anchored out tonight instead of tied ashore. And the wind was blowing this afternoon, not real strong, but strong enough that I didn't want to paddle up wind towards the trailhead to do the hike. So I decided to put that off until tomorrow morning. I'll hike up there tomorrow. It's going to be about a mile hike to an overlook for Beast Lake. So I like to do that hike and paddle up there, but I'll do it in the morning when hopefully the conditions are a little calmer. And then when the wind comes up, I'll be downwind. So this evening, I had an enjoyable evening because a family of otters were very active around the boat. Initially, I caught them, they were feeding, and I saw them eating something, probably a fish. It looked like, must have been fairly substantial because they were chomping away. And then later they came swimming around the boat. I tried to get some pictures, but they're moving so fast. And then because the boat is drifting at anchor, it swings around and blocks my pictures sometimes, no matter what I do. But I think I got some shots anyway to at least token effort to show that I did see otters. There were actually 3 of them, just looked like one kit, parents and one kit looks like, but I was hoping to see a moose. There's kind of a nice area for moose to come down and feed. There's a lot of lily pads around here. They tend to like that kind of growth, but so far nothing this evening, or if they were there, I didn't see them. And then, like I said, I'm going to try to hit the sack here shortly because it's almost dark, and then I'll head over to the trailhead in the morning sometime after I get done with breakfast. After that, I'm not real sure. I'm going to be heading south, that's for sure, but how far I go, that's up in the air. I thought about going down to where I saw the wolf pack back in 2021. That was an anchorage too, in kind of a lily pad infested area, kind of shallow. And the reason I went in there is to get away from the crowds because that was in the middle of July of that year. So I may do that, and then just by chance, maybe they'll run across the lake there again. That was the time that I saw them swim across. There was a pack. I only saw 3. There might have been more in the pack because I didn't catch my eye right away. They were quarter of a mile away, I guess. They came out on a rock, jumped into the lake, and swam across the channel there about 75 yards, and then went up on the other side. Eventually, they chased out a deer. I don't know if they got the fawn. Joe come running down the shore to beat the band. I knew she was being chased, but the wolves didn't follow, so they must have gotten something. Otherwise, they would have been after her too. Long and the short of it, it was kind of exciting, and I would like to see that again, but the chances of that are almost nil. Nevertheless, it was a nice quiet area, so I may go down there tomorrow. It's not too far, and that would be reachable after I finish the hike. That's a tentative plan at this point, and we'll get you up to date tomorrow after we get settled. And it's been raining off and on this afternoon. Earlier in the day it was sunny. It rained in the morning, then it was sunny, and then it rained again this evening. I wasn't expecting as much rain tonight, but it was here. It's cool. Right now it's 58 degrees outside, 66 inside. So with that, we'll call it quits for the day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.